make sure you're watching your videos to look for these things, because I noticed that content creators will have the same issue. And so the information may be good, but it's not coming across because you're never...
Welcome to the Create with Charles podcast, where we dive into the truth about turning your passion into profit. I'm your host, Charles Reynolds, and with me is a very special guest, my wife, Reynolds. Loren is a licensed speech therapist. She's been that for the past over 15 years. This is a phenomenal woman. She's also a content creator herself. She has multiple channels, one where she teaches speech therapy to parents at home, and another one where she's sharing her interest in love for gardening and foraging. I'm so happy to have her on the show today.
Happy to be here.
So I asked Loren to come on the show today because as a content creator, I'm very aware that how I present myself, how I communicate is important. It's been some things that I've struggled with. As she knows, I talk really fast sometimes and I leave off syllables. I stutter sometimes, and she's been really helpful in getting me to slow down when I talk and to think a little bit more before I say what I'm going to say. And it's a journey. You know, I'm still working on my communication skills, but I wanted to bring her on to help some of you guys because I've had clients and I've talked with other content creators, and some of them say they talk too slow, right? And some say they talk too fast, and a lot of people are very hypersensitive about how they communicate. And so I wanted to bring her on today to kind of help us all as communicators understand how to communicate effectively, present ourselves online, and really connect with our audience. That's what content creation is all about. Let's talk about the first thing that you are always drilling into my head, which is being comfortable with the pause. A lot of people, when they present, whether live or on camera, they don't like to experience that awkward silence between sharing their thoughts. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Definitely. I want to say first and foremost, I have noticed a change in your conversational style and communication. It is definitely more, it's a lot better. So I wanted to give you credit where credit is due.
I'll take it.
And so basically, when you're having a conversation, it's a little uncomfortable. A lot of times you want to get out what you're going to say and you don't have control. And so the fear of that builds anxiety. And surprisingly enough, the pause returns that control, reduces that anxiety. And so that's what's really important about it. Another thing is those filler words. So when we take that pause, take our time, it gives you time to process in what you're going to say as a speaker. And oftentimes it helps remove, right, those different things like that, where we feel like we have to keep the conversation going. And we don't. We can take a break if we forgot what we said. This is another great space because you get to take it out. So take your time, take that break, stop. That's what really helps. And as you can see, sometimes I say sometimes I say So I'm working on it as well because it's not natural in our society. We're a go, go, go society, get it out. But taking that pause really helps you to process. It also helps the audience to process what you're saying, because a lot of times we're saying a lot of information quickly. If this is information that's new to you as an audience, it takes time for you to be able to process the first piece of information, what was stated, to then build on whatever else is being said after the fact. So these are very important benefits to the pause.
Yeah. So that's interesting, right? Because I didn't know, or I didn't make the connection that pausing returns the control, like it helps reduce anxiety. I also resonate with the point you said about how the pause reduces the filler words. Mm-hmm. And I know a lot of people, that's one of the things that they're hypercritical of themselves when they watch themselves back, myself included, especially when I'm editing videos and I gotta cut all them ums out. My Lord. Like, I know they got AI for that, but AI can't get it all.
It's frustrating. It's cringe when you hear yourself doing all those ums.
Right. And so it's interesting using the pause to help combat using filler words when you're communicating. That's something that I didn't realize until you said that. Can you share, I think one of the things that also is difficult for me when being comfortable with the pause is just remembering to pause, right? My brain goes 100 miles a minute and I try to talk as fast as my brain thinks, and that's where I get tongue-tied. Mm-hmm. So I think one of the issues for me is like how can I retain a thought long enough? Because I'm scared that if I don't say it, I forget it. And so that's what makes it hard for me to remember to pause. So what are some practical ways that we can effectively implement pausing when we're communicating?
Well, first and foremost, this is the simplest one of all: practice.
Okay.
The more you practice, the more it becomes natural.
Yeah.
And the more your brain will retain the thought that you have for longer. So it'll stay there until you're able to get it out.
Okay.
And so that's the crazy factor. It's like with everything that practice, building that muscle, that practice and make things perfect. So another thing that's important is a script. So even if you're not looking at the screen and reading off of a teleprompter, which is really helpful, you're still scripting out your videos. You've taught me that. Script out your videos. Even if you're going to do key points in a bone structure, a skeleton, script it out. So you can pick where you're going to put these pauses. And we'll talk later about the importance of it and why, that to get to that place. But scripting it out, you can say, I'm going to take a pause here. I'm going to take a pause here. I need to be mindful of my pauses. Another thing that's important is reviewing your videos. So looking to see where you said all these ums, those are where you could have put pauses, and being more mindful of that. That's something I'm really working on myself. I look at my videos and I hear the ums and it makes me cringe and it's like, ugh. But it's like, okay, this is where you need to remind yourself that it's okay to pause, to take a break, to even slow down or let your words kind of bleed out. Yeah. And so it's like, that's another thing. We want to talk quickly, but it's like, if you let your words bleed out like that, you have taken a pause, essentially. And that's another way to help you pause and still make it a little more comfortable with your conversational speech.
That's good. Do you think that maybe we just talk too much? I think sometimes people overtalk because they don't want the awkward silence. For me, it's much, at least from my perspective, I think it would be much more efficient if you took the time to think through what you're going to say, be clear on it, so that when you speak with authority. One, you don't use a lot of filler words, and then two, you can kind of cut out or you can implement a pause more effectively because you know what you're going to say and that thought is clear.
Right. And practicing in your regular conversations is important as well. And that's the thing. Also, you may notice that you're talking to someone and they may have stated a point that you were going to say.
Right.
Just don't state it.
Right.
Getting comfortable with the fact that you don't have to hear yourself speak. Right. You don't have to speak. You can listen and you may not even have to share input. Right. Even if there's nothing taking place, even if that person have shared everything they shared and there's nothing else to say, sitting there looking at each other is okay. Laughing a little bit is okay. Being comfortable in that space, you and the other person, with that pause of not sharing information. You're right. We do share way too many words. Right. And man, could you imagine if we had a limit on words? Right. We were exceeded. Everything. We would be in the debt that the United States is in right now. Right. You know what I mean? So we have to keep that in mind. We don't have to put those words out there. Mm-hmm. Another thing that's important is nonverbal communication. Yeah. You can pick up on other people's nonverbal communication and they can pick up on yours, and you help improve your nonverbal communication, which is so important to communication in general. Right. Me smiling, me nodding, me raising my eyebrows, me kind of looking in the air, I'm thinking. These are all important, even my body language and how I'm moving around. You pick up on other people doing that and you doing that with less verbal communication.
That's good. That's good. I'm just thinking about how to apply that to being a content creator. What are some nonverbal ways to communicate on camera?
Well, the good thing is there are sound effects. There are visual effects. There are things you can do, but also you need to improve your intensity of emotion, if that makes sense. So if you're giving me an angry face for the camera, you got to give a real angry face. Yeah. If you're giving a thought, you're really thinking off into the sky. Like that eye is way up in the corner of your eye. And intensifying those emotions help the audience to understand what you're trying to portray without even saying any words. Wow. And then you can add your sound effects and your other visual effects to make the camera go closer and further away. I don't know what this stuff is called. I'm not really, I'm still learning. But those kind of things help you to be more creative as a content creator as well.
Yeah, I guess it's important with that to make sure you kind of read the room, because nobody wants you to be excited and you're talking about a recession. You know what I mean? That would be weird. Right. I think I've seen that, especially with YouTube thumbnails. Mm-hmm. People give these weird faces and the content doesn't align with their thumbnail. But with scripting, you had talked about scripting a little bit, and that's why I script everything, because even if I'm not going to say it word for word, it gives me a little more confidence that I can go back to something that's clear when I go off on a tangent, or, I forget what I'm talking about. And it kind of helps me with communicating in a more efficient way. So even if I script it, I use a teleprompter, I may deviate from the teleprompter, but I have it there just in case I lose my train of thought or I need to deliver something a little more clear. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I write everything down. I take notes for everything. So all my videos, no matter how spur of the moment, random they are, I'm always taking some form of notes of what I'm going to say. So it's like, because there are key points that I want to discuss and I need to make sure to remember to discuss them. And if I'm going to skip them, that's fine, but let them be there. So, write 4 bullet points and you're looking like, oh, you know what I mean? It's okay to do that.
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea, but it also helps, like you said, to keep direction so you don't go off on a tangent, because that's way more editing for you, because you still need to keep it down or people aren't going to watch your stuff, which I'm learning as well.
Yeah, I think just writing your thoughts down helps you get clear on them.
Yes.
I think that people who don't write, a lot of times when they go to deliver information that's in their head for the first time, it just comes out a jumbled mess. And I think that's a lost skill, that people just don't write their thoughts down and get clear on them.
Right. We're people of emotion. And I know that I get very emotional, even in conversations. If I want to have a conversation with someone, I really prefer text, because then I get to write how I was thinking. But if we're going to have a face-to-face or a conversation over the phone, I write down my key points. I even write down in specific things I want to say. And sometimes I'll just go off a note, or sometimes I'll read them verbatim, because this is how I need it to be expressed. And I can't always, in the emotion, express it that way or remember what I wanted to say.
Yeah. So I have like a 3-step process for how I work on my communication. I know that I write everything down, then I read it out loud just to myself, and I practice on delivering it before I actually then deliver it on camera. Going through that process, I don't always do that, but when I do that, everything comes out much more smoother. Even when I deviate, it's much more organic, and it makes more sense than if I was just to press record and just start talking. Some people can do that. That's just not my ministry. We talked about nonverbal communication. One of the things that's, I think, critical is eye contact. Can you talk a little bit about the importance of eye contact and the importance of eye contact on camera?
So eye contact is so important to relay intention and emotion. A lot of times, like we said, that nonverbal communication, it's not just the eyes. People looking at your whole face. They're looking at your mouth, how you set up your face. Are you looking a little sad? Are you looking? So it's very intentional, and they can determine what emotions are going through your head at that moment. And that draws people in. Eye contact in general draws people in. If somebody's looking in your eye, you're going to be more attentive to what they're saying. It almost kind of like triggers an attentive response from whoever is engaging with you, whether it's in the personal setting or it's over video. And so eye contact also shows that a person is honest. Research says that, like, eye contact, oftentimes when you're going to lie or you're going to be deceptive, you look off to a different direction. If you're able to make eye contact with somebody, oftentimes they think that you're honest and that you're going to be truthful and they can trust you. It's so important to be able to make that eye contact with the audience so that they can trust what you're trying to say, engage what you're trying to say, which also helps them listen more intently and understand what you're saying. So in general, like, as a speech pathologist, I work with a lot of children who, for various reasons, have difficulty with eye contact. And of course, we look at other verbal things, with the autistic community. Sometimes eye contact is painful, so we wouldn't force it on. But I do have clients who it's not painful for, but they just don't know how to do it. And I let them know the importance of that in engaging with other people. And so in our society, there are certain things that are just important. It's just the way we're set up. And if you're able to make that eye contact, it will make the difference, as opposed to you're looking away and looking all over the place when you're making your presentations or you're saying what you're going to say. At least engaging to 3 to 5 seconds at a time is going to make all the difference. And in our regular conversations, statistics and research show that we make eye contact 30 to 60%, depending on the person and depending on how intent and actively familiar you are with the importance of eye contact. People who are nervous people oftentimes don't make as much eye contact as people who are a little more well-versed in what they're sharing. It shows confidence, right? So you can kind of shift into how much eye contact you give in various scenarios, as you would say. Someone who's making a speech may not make an eye contact with the people in the room as much as if I'm talking to you, because we're more comfortable with each other. So being aware of that is important, because the more eye contact you make on a consistent basis, the more you're getting those benefits of the intentionality, of the trust, of the confidence, different things like that.
I received that. But when you're looking in a camera, you're not talking to a person, right? I think a lot of people they're uncomfortable like staring into a lens, right? So, and it's not natural. Like if I'm talking to you in person, I'm not going to look at you 100% of the time in the eye. That's going to be weird. So how much should a person look at the lens directly into the camera versus maybe looking away? Like what's natural, what's comfortable?
So the important factor is you're looking at the camera as if you're talking to somebody in particular, like if you're having conversation. And so you're going to laugh, you're going to look away when you're thinking about different things. You're going to be comfortable. So that's the importance of not just looking at the lens, but actually pretending that it's a person, pretending like me and you are having conversation. I'm not going to stare at you in your eyes the whole time while I'm having this conversation with you. I'm going to look off while I'm telling a story or telling something, and then I'm going to look back at you. I'm going to laugh and look down. Yeah. So that's how you're engaging with the camera, because you have to pretend that there's a person behind there, because that's going to make it more comfortable. That's how you're going to be able to look away from the camera and not be so caught in the camera. It's almost weird when you see somebody stare at the camera 24/7. But like I was saying before, you'll look at somebody and engage, and average is 70% that's comfortable, where you're looking at someone when you're speaking to them or when they're speaking to you. But there's going to be something that happens in your conversation where you look off to the side and then re-engage. So thinking about a person being behind that lens is going to help remind you that this is a comfortable conversation.
Yeah, and I do that when I'm making videos. I just imagine that you're behind the camera. No, but one thing I do is also with public speaking, and you mentioned this, is I don't look at the room. I do pick people. Like I'm talking to a person in any given moment when I'm speaking in public, because I think that makes it, again, you get more connection. It makes it a little bit easier to communicate when you're just, in my mind, I'm talking to one person, even though there's multiple people in the room. Is that something that you?
That's a good place to start. Okay. But also keep in mind, we're human, and you staring at me for 30 minutes in a whole hot conversation.
Well, no, not one person.
Make me feel uncomfortable.
Not just one person.
Oh, okay.
I'm saying I pick a person every sentence or two.
That's and I good. Say, yes.
I'm not just looking at the room.
Right. The whole time. You want to engage with specific people in the audience. Yeah, and so my rule is to break the room into threes. Okay. And so that you're always hitting a third. So you're hitting the left side, the middle, the right side, and you're going back and forth. And you don't have to go 1, 2, 3. Go 2, 3, 1, 1, 3, 2. Like things like that. So you're looking around the room, but yes, engaging with specific people and staring at them, that's going to really help you to be able to feel more comfortable, them engage with you, and then being aware some people don't like to be stared at. So I have noticed that sometimes I'm too focused on what I'm saying, and I'm staring at that person, but I'm not really thinking about them. And they're looking at me like, she's staring at me. This is weird. So also being aware of that too, because you don't want that person to get thrown off either and no longer engage. So that's just something to think about when it's a room full of people.
That's good. That's good. So let's switch gears a little bit and talk about my pain point, which is I speak way too fast. And you call it rate of speech. That's what it is, controlling the rate of speech. So for someone like me who thinks they talk too fast or even too slow, how can you balance the rate of speech effectively? And we talked about the pause already. So right. I get that. Are there any other ways or anything to think about or strategies for talking in a way, like especially with a camera, that is like not robotic or not super fast, but like comfortable and casual, conversational, as like we're often trying to do on social media?
My favorite thing, this is something that should come natural to all of us, but doesn't always. Breathing. That breathing is the cure to everything. I always tell people, if you're talking too fast, breathe. Okay. Keep breathing. And so my rule is always like every 5 to 8 words, maybe 6 to 8 words, depending on if the words are short like is or if they're longer. Taking that breath in between really helps your words to come out more clearly, first and foremost, and makes you more comfortable. When you have less air in your lungs, your vocal folds, which is your vocal cords, tighten and things are kind of being forced out. So it causes tension on your vocal folds. You're not getting the words out properly. So you're almost kind of over articulating, which is causing tension on the jaw and the neck. And it's a forced fight. It's no longer fun. It's difficult. And you'll notice to see your body gets a little bit more exhausted. You're not getting enough oxygen in your system, which is what your body and your blood needs. And also you're not maybe getting stuck, but things are coming out a little more intense and difficult. So the more you breathe, the more effortless communication is, the more air you put between your words, the more articulate you are, but the rate of speech reduces. So the first thing I'll teach someone who stutters is that diaphragmatic breathing, taking that deep breath in between those words and allowing enough air to come out between those words and then taking another breath and not forcing all of that air out. I say there should be still some, at least 30% in there when you're taking that next breath. But sometimes we're squeezing it all the way out. And it's like, you're forcing it out further. You know what I mean? Like I said, putting that strain on those vocal folds. But some of those words get lost in translation and like lost in that missing breath. So that's going to be important. Also, practicing some warming up exercises. It's not just for singing. Like once again, loosening those vocal cords to get more air out while you're communicating is going to be relying upon how much air your lungs can take in and your diaphragm can take in. And so taking the deep breath in, holding it for a couple seconds, breathing out like la, 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 la. All of that is not just for singing, it's for speaking too. So are practicing speech exercises. And so like those speech sounds, like the that kind of stuff, lifting your tongue to touch your lip and bottom of your lip and to the left and to the right to strengthen the tongue, doing jaw exercises. And you can find all this stuff on YouTube because this is what singers use, but this is what good speakers use too. Because your articulators get tired, but the stronger they are, the more you can use them.
And your articulators
are your lips, your tongue, your jaw, your cheeks. Sorry about that. Those are articulators.
No, it's all good. I just had to ask for I knew that. I just had to ask for the audience.
Right, no problem. And then the practicing. The practicing is going to be so important. So you're not just doing this 1 or 2 times, but in regular conversation with other people, take breaths. And especially someone like you, I'm comfortable with you. So if you see me practicing and taking all these breaths in between my words, it may seem weird, but you're not gonna be like, babe, what you're doing. You're not gonna make me feel bad. So practicing with people you're comfortable with, and then practicing on camera, and then practicing with people you're less comfortable with will translate over. But also getting comfortable with being slower. Like people think that they're always thinking they're talking too slow. And you're very rarely talking too slow. Very, very rarely. So taking it a step slower is always going to be more beneficial. And keeping in mind, if you are a very slow speaker, somebody gonna tell you. But I'm guaranteeing you've never been told that. Or the person who is afraid of that has never been told that. It's just their own self-consciousness.
And that's a good point about breathing too. I'm thinking about when I do public speaking, I'm already nervous. And then I'm not breathing. So it's like, I'm like about to pass out. Yes. So that's a good point. Like breathe so you don't pass out when you do public speaking.
Right. Please breathe. You can never breathe too much unless you're hyperventilating. We don't want that either though.
So I want to talk a little bit about the nonverbal communication a little more and like your energy, right? And I was doing some research and I think I came across some data that said that 68% of people are more likely to engage with you if you have high energy. So I think there is an importance for when you are communicating, whether that be a live presentation, on camera, you want to come with energy. You want to look like you care about what you're talking about, that you're passionate, you're invested in what you're talking about. What are some ways that you come with high energy? Because whenever I hear you speak or sing, it looks like you have a lot of energy. So what are you doing? What are you doing to have all that energy? Like, it's hard for me to manufacture energy. Like, I'm a more laid back person, generally speaking. So when I have to have energy. I haven't practiced just turning it on. So are you just built that way, or is there something that you do that had to have a lot of energy when you get on stage, especially if you're nervous? Like if you're nervous, the last thing you want to do is be vulnerable and like output all this energy. You're trying to like reserve it because you're already in a defensive state. So like are you just not nervous when you do public speaking, or like what are you doing?
It's the opposite.
To have
I'm always
energy?
extremely nervous, but I'm trying to channel my nervousness energy into excitement.
Okay.
And sometimes it doesn't always come off well. Like it's come off very awkward where people's just like, whoa, like it's too much. But like I said, the more you practice these kind of things, the better you get at it. So for me, like, it's like, all right, take this deep breath and just give it all you got. And we're human, so sometimes it's not going to be balanced. Sometimes it's going to be like, whoa, that was just a lot of energy. But then sometimes it comes off well. Yeah. So the more you practice, the more you start to realize where that threshold is. But my like recommendation is to always take that nervous energy and push it into excited energy, always. And so you'll balance as you go, but like that's what I do because I'm extremely nervous every time I get behind people. But it's just like I'm gonna channel that into excitement, into joy, into happiness, and as hard as it is, because like you said, you want to kind of close off and stay reserved because you're nervous in this space and you don't know how you're going to come across, but you have to take that out of your head. Either you're going to do it or you're not going to do it. And if you're going to do it, then take all that nervousness and push it into excitement.
I received that. I think one of the things I do, I call it priming. So before I have to speak or before I get on camera, I jump around, I do push-ups, I'll be air punching, I'll scream to the top of my lungs, I'll rap a song or something to get myself into that state.
You also play music.
I play music, I play music a lot.
That's you're comfortable with, keep you going.
But whatever it is that brings me natural excitement and joy, I do that right before I get on camera or right before, I need to speak or perform a song so that I'm in that space and it doesn't feel forced. So the last thing I want to talk about was emphasis, right? And that's one thing that, as you've coached me on how to become a better communicator for public speaking and creating content, sometimes you'll say, I put the emphasis on the words wrong, or, it comes off weird, because I paused where I shouldn't have paused. I paused in the middle of a thought or whatever. So like, can you walk me through why is emphasis important? And then can you just kind of talk about how we can correctly put emphasis in the right areas?
So emphasis, I always look at it as the highlighter. So whatever you're saying, you have to understand your audience, whoever you're speaking to, whether it's in person or over video, your audience is always gonna miss most of what you're saying. Like you're saying a lot of stuff, they've got to comb through it. So imagine just putting a highlighter on the important things. That is like the best way you can let your audience take something from the video. Because as creators, we think everything I'm saying is so important, but you have to realize that's not how the brain works. And so you want them to still take away some key points. So your emphasis is what those key points are.
So what are some ways that they can effectively make sure they put the right emphasis where it needs to be?
So you have to find an action word. It should be like one sentence. Whatever that key is, it should be a phrase or a sentence. And there's an action word in there that you want people to focus on. So you're putting emphasis on at least that action word so people know don't da 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 or do da 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 da. You know what I mean? And it's important how and where, because if I say don't do that, or I say don't do that, well, your brain's like don't, whatever's gonna be coming next, I don't do that, right? But don't do that. The emphasis on the do. So I'm supposed to be doing something. That's what our brain is picking up on. And so if there's anything else missed, they're still getting the action word of what needs to take place in there. And that's where you want your emphasis to be on. So being mindful of that, either you're going to put emphasis on that whole little phrase or the key action word in that phrase to make sure that people are identifying where they need to go with this information.
That was good. My brain just picked up on that. That's dope. All right, so last thing, what are some of the biggest mistakes you see with content creators and how they communicate on social media?
As a New Yorker, I clutter. And cluttering is when you speak so fast that your words are jumbled up.
That's my thing.
Yes, that's
Okay,
your
so
thing.
we got the
And
same
that's,
problem.
yes, we do.
Okay.
That's why I was so easily
That's
able
why-
to identify it within you and help
They
you
say
out.
two become one, you know.
You know it. High five. So basically, like making sure that you identify those errors in your own presentation. You're going to have, whether it's you're forgetting to pause, you're talking too fast, you're not making eye contact. One of these things you're not doing. Make sure you're watching your videos to look for these things, to identify what you're having issue with and correct it. Because I noticed that content creators will have the same issue. And so the information may be good, but it's not coming across because you're never making the appropriate eye contact. You're always talking too fast and I'm not getting this information. So we have to, as content creators, look at our own stuff. And I'm number one at this because I hate watching myself or listening to myself speak, but you gotta do it to identify what the issue is. And so sometimes you'll watch your stuff just to find out where you can pick up other errors, but look at the communication side, most importantly. Put yourself in your audience's shoes. If you were getting this information for the first time, would you be able to grasp it from the way that you're presenting it? If not, then you have to identify what those areas are to fix, so that you're not doing it. So this habit's got to be broken. And the number one thing for all of us is that those filler words. So we just really got to get more comfortable with those pauses.
So creators, start watching your videos. You see what I did there? That's emphasis.
I like it.
Emphasis
You told
on the
me what to
action
do.
word. Yeah. That was cringe. I ain't gonna lie. But I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you for joining, for blessing us with your, immense knowledge on talking and communication. So can you tell the people where to find you?
Sure. So you can find me on Instagram at Speak Life Inspire. And you can find some speech tips to help with communication skills for both parents of children with speech disorders and adults. You can also find me on Instagram at SoSista, SOWSISTAH, where you can learn a little bit about gardening and foraging, which happens to be one of my favorite hobbies. So come and join me there. And as a bonus, I'm going to be providing some speech exercises you can use for both breathing and to help you articulate a little bit better as content creators. And you can find that in the description below.
Thank you for watching the Create with Charles podcast, where we dive into the truth about turning passion into profit. Why'd I say it again? I don't know, but I did. It does, right? It does, right? Glad you guys can join us. Again, make sure to hit that subscribe button and we'll see you in the next episode. Peace.